the session leading the way Web3 gaming opportunities in this circle. This session features outstanding guests who are leading the forefront of the Web3 gaming industry. Without further delay, let me introduce our speakers. Please welcome Litis Joseph Zhang, Global Head of Web3 and Strategic Partnership at Exolar. Woo! And next speaker is DG Zhang, Head of Gaming Group at Mantor. Woo! And next speaker is Eric Zhao, Global Business Director at Relink. Woo! Next speaker is Sebastian Bourget, COO and co-founder of the Sandbox. Woo! And moderating this session is Sean Chen, investment analyst at IVC. Woo! Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone attending IOS and also attending this panel. I think we could start with the introduction, beginning from me. Actually, IVC, we are the fund studied in Japan, and we studied in 2021, and we have over 200 portfolio, and over 40% of the portfolio are gaming or gaming related.
Hello everyone, my name is Sebastian Bourget. I'm the COO and co-founder of the Sandbox, as well as the president of the Blockchain Game Alliance. Who's familiar with Sandbox in the room? Maybe raise your hand. All right, wow, we are very popular in Japan. A lot of fans here, cool. Thank you, arigato. So if you don't know Sandbox, it's essentially a decentralized virtual world where anyone can make 3D content, full games and experiences. And we are leveraging blockchain technologies and NFTs so you can truly own, monetize the experience you publish on your land and that other users can access with their avatars. We've partnered with more than 400 major brands, and I think we'll have something special to announce at the end of this panel.
Hey guys, Eric from Wellink. We're a cloud gaming, cloud streaming / cloud rendering company headquartered in Singapore. Essentially, we help gaming companies, right, game developers, game publishers, gaming platforms achieve mass adoption through our cloud rendering technology. We've been helping gaming companies in APAC and also in Europe. We're trying to venture into the North American space in the near future. We have just established a local office here in Tokyo. Thank you and happy to be here.
Hi, my name is GC. Well, my name is actually Grant. It's just people think I'm actually money and not a real person if I use that name. So I go with GC. I come from a background of Web2 games publishing, worked on League of Legends, Ragnarok, Transformers, Rodeo Stampede. Usually head of user acquisition or publishing, acquired over 800 million gamers into different projects I worked on. And now I'm with the Mantle team, looking to share a lot of that experience and support game developers in building in the Web3 space.
Hi guys, Ray Josephian, Global Head of Strategic Partnership at Exola. You can think of Exola as the commerce engine for video games, so we help game developers go direct to consumer. The easiest comparison would be Shopify for video games. So we work across 200 different regions and territories with over 700 different payment service providers, so helping game developers earn more by connecting them with local payment service providers and various other technologies. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Okay, thank you everyone. Today we are going to discuss about gaming opportunity in this cycle. I think we have pretty different background from our side. We have the game developers like Sandbox and Wellink. We have the gaming investors, for example, like IVC and Marina, and also one of the biggest gaming ecosystem like Exola. But like the Web3 games has been a very controversial topic from the recent years. Like the Web2 gamers playing that the NFTs are unbelievable high and unaffordable to the normal gamers. But Meanwhile, some kind of the Web3 native users, they enjoy the Web3 games. So we would like to hear about the thoughts from your side.
So I think when we're looking around Web3 gaming, right, the controversy surrounding it, I think it's a mixture of misunderstanding and sort of early market dynamics. A lot of traditional gamers are skeptical, or at least initially were skeptical around NFTs and the value of actual asset ownership, because they simply didn't know why, or they didn't understand the whole concept around Web3, and also the friction surrounding Web3 gaming, especially the entry point of wallet setup, etc., seemed unnecessary for them, right? And so I do think Web3 native users see a lot of value in it, in sort of the verifiable scarcity, asset ownership, etc. But in terms of moving forward, I think it's going to be crucial for us to focus on educating the traditional Web2 gamer, but also the developer in terms of how you monetize and go around creating value for the actual developer, but also for the end user as well.
Yeah, I can jump in here. I think just like Ritis was saying, like educating both players and developers is essential here, and that's one of our main mission at the Blockchain Game Alliance. The Web3 model is a new paradigm shift, and right now, I don't believe anyone in the industry has figured out like what's the exact successful model of Web3 gaming. Like play to earn is one potential entry point for like the developers to onboard the players, but it's not the only one. So we're seeing very, very different strategies. And that's the one thing I love about the industry is that like the speed of innovation and experimentation is essential. So we're seeing like developers who are like launching with free mints. For example, instead of trying to sell very few NFTs at a high price, they are just like introducing the gameplay, introducing the community to enjoy those games. Very simple games. It can be like casual game, like we're seeing now, like idle clickers on Telegram, like IO games, like Sushi Farm, or we are seeing TCG game, like Cross the Edges, or UGC game, like Sandbox. Onboarding them, allowing them to like really first get a feeling of like why I'm playing this game, why is it fun, and after they launch different rewards based on the quest you complete, based on the action. Leaderboards, battle pass, reward system, and they allow them to mint tokens or to claim tokens for free. So the first entry point usually is not about selling an NFT at a high price. It's actually giving something for the players. Most of the Web3 games I know now, the strategy is really about like give something of value, reward the players for their time, participate, and leverage the network effect from the distribution network you're working on, or from the platform you're working on, or from the blockchain layer you're working on, or the marketplaces before, and like try to scale this in a meaningful manner. So 2 years ago, it was OpenSea that was essentially the main distribution point and discovery for many games. Today, I think it changed already, and that's why like it's important to educate both the players and the developer, and to stay resilient while you work on your fundamentals. Without a good game, without a fun game at the end of the day, it's not going to sustain.
Yeah, and I think just to go back on your point, I think we've been seeing, digital asset ownership has already existed before Web3, right? You look at Steam Marketplace platform in terms of skin trading and various different elements, except it's more of a closed loop ecosystem, right? So it's nothing new necessarily for the Web2 gamer or the Web3 gamer, but there have been very few successful Web3 games that actually have gotten the tokenomics and the economies right, and the monetization models that would have traditionally worked in Web 2 don't necessarily work in Web 3. We know play to earn doesn't work, or I haven't at least seen a successful game that has employed that mechanic. So,
yeah. So I mean, coming from more of a traditional gaming space, one of the big things that we kind of the fundamental is that there really is only 3 business models for a business game, or commercial models, right? There's the pay-to-play, essentially you pay for a gaming experience. There's the microtransactions or free-to-play where you monetize within the game for minor interactions within the game. And then there's the kind of ads and sponsorships where you're selling your users, or you're getting a chance for other projects to gain exposure to your users for a fee. play to earn is not a commercial model. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that has been facing when the gaming industry or in the GameFi industry is that people are treating play to earn as a business model. It's a tool. It's a really good tool to be able to accomplish some very specific tasks. Last game I launched was called Catizen. We reached over 21 million players within about 90 days. We also generated a decent amount of revenue, close to about like $14 million within those 90 days. A big reason of that growth was because we used the play-to-earn model to be able to help incentivize our users, to help expand our community, to help grow the user base. But in the end, we knew that these users need to be monetized. We need to make money from these users or else it's not a real business. And so that's where I think once we're able to really adjust our mindset and really approach gaming in a way that more sensible in terms of actually like not delude ourselves that hey, if we pay 1 million gamers to play our game, then we have 1 million players. We know that we have a very specific task that we want users to accomplish, and we incentivize them through tokenomics, then we can actually treat this as, I think, something that is sustainable, or we're able to create something that is sustainable and long running.
Yeah, I think I'm with GZ on this one. At WellLink, we offer a pretty unique perspective since we work with both Web2 and Web3 gaming companies. Web2 games, players are often paid to play, right? And also, you offer in-game purchases. So players are willing to spend money to enjoy the game, which means the game's got to be fun. But for Web3 games, the play-to-earn model is not something what we expect in the future. And I don't think it's going to last for a long time because you really need the fun part. The games have to be attractive. The games have to be interesting for players to play. That's the foundation of a game. And then later on, when you add the earn element, you combine play and earn. It's not play to earn, it's play and earn. I think that's what makes Web3 games attractive.
Just to add one more thing in terms of the monetization element, I think the value extraction when we look at Web3 gaming is very different to Web2, right? So you're looking at even any Web2 game, Web3 game, or any Web3 product or ecosystem, you're looking at there's multiple layers of value extraction, right? Monetization. One is obviously the native token of the game or the platform that you're using and trading in. The other is digital assets, but one area that most people probably don't look at is actual user data, right? It's becoming increasingly more difficult for mobile game developers or any game developer to target users. User cost acquisitions are extremely high. So the way you monetize users and the way you extract value in Web3 is going to be entirely different. It's going to be powered probably by ad tech and ad networks. And if you can also reward users for sharing their data and be more community driven and reward them, you can increase spending.
Yeah, I agree. Like for me, it's really about like how you perceive value and value creation in general in your business model. So a lot of like traditional game developer, free-to-play game developer, the only way they see to selling is a traditional live ops model. Like I'm going to sell a maximum of them and increase the number of first-time transaction, primary transaction. Well, Web3 introduced a new thing, which is secondary transaction. So normally, game developers should have been thinking of like, how do my gameplay and every future update and live ops should enhance transaction players to players and myself earning a small royalty on it every time. So instead of monetizing the content one time, I will monetize it a smaller percentage, 3, 5%, 10%, n times. The second thing is like, value is no longer constrained to your game only, because your game is no longer a closed walled garden. You're part of an ecosystem, and the value of a user, like a user with his wallet, is like a bank account. Like every game contributes to grow the value of that user when like they accept and give something, or makes them buy an NFT or earn a reward from playing from one game to another. So when a player start to play another game by connecting their wallet, it's actually also valuable for them. It gives you a reason to re-engage that players from offering something through interoperability to the other players. You can also grow the value of the users by making them participate in content creation. And that's why in the sandbox, the user-generated model is so powerful. Like brands are coming to sandbox because they get not one game published on the land, they get hundreds, if not thousands of games made with their content by that community of creators, contributing to generating more social media views as well. So they got the earned media factor, contributing to increase their reach in general within the platform, because then there are many participants in the community that promote them instead of one. So it's really a new paradigm shift in general to think like, oh, I'm going actually to not only create exciting content, monetize, but also save on my traditional cost of user acquisition that tend to go to the platform, community building that tend to go to only certain selected actors, and overall we benefit all of it by being part of that ecosystem.
No, I think UCG is going to be a major factor in terms of Web3 gaming and the entire monetization model. Simply because if you can, it's going to power the entire creator economy, right? So the gamer now becomes a game developer in a sense by creating digital assets, creating unique experiences in gameplay. We've seen it in Roblox. We're seeing it in Megamod and a number of other platforms. They're not. They're video games, but they're also platforms in their own right? So if you allow the user to create experiences that not only they want to enjoy, but share with their friends, tokenize and sell those assets, or that's another monetization model that I think is going to power the creator economy. And also brand partnerships. We've seen it work very well in Roblox with Gucci, I think, sold 30 million worth of digital items, digital bags. So it's sort of a reflection of our in-game persona as well as your real-life persona.
That's absolutely what we're seeing at Sandbox. Like all the brands that enters, many of them, they launch their avatar collection, they monetize them, they've earned like hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, and like they are now like seeing 100 to thousands of games made by those creators as well, so additional value. And in a way, for me, there is no future of gaming without a UGC component. Like that's the UGC side, that's what retains the players forever, turning those games into platform, contributing to not just make little element, but making your own character, making your own level, and ultimately now engaging in the governance of the platform. We just launched the DAO of Sandbox, by the way, allowing the players to have a say in the future of how the game will evolve based on the asset they own, from the economy of the game or from the content of the game, the land, the avatar. It's really new. It's sometimes experimental, so we haven't seen it successful at scale, but I believe it would be the future. That's what Roblox should enable. That's what Fortnite should enable, and that's what we started with Sandbox.
Yeah, I never expect that all speakers are so well prepared to the question list. I think that monetization model is actually a pretty tough question for everyone, not only for the developers, but also for the investors. We are trying to find out what's the best or what's the ideal monetization model in the Web3 space. But I think most of you mentioned that the new monetization model is big due to the ownership features of the blockchain. But besides of the ownership features, what do you think are the beauties of the Web3 games, and what kind of the other beneficial elements that blockchain technology could bring to the gaming industry?
So,
Sure, I'll take that question first. I think the beauty lies on the chain, right? That's where the magic happens, and the beauty with that aspect is that you can store your asset on chain. So to me, jumping from play to earn to play and own and earn. So play, own, then earn is my ideal monetization model. First, the content, the titles have to be fun to play. That's where you attract the players and accumulate the customer base in the beginning. Once you have that, you can create and own assets to be put up on the chain, and you can see those assets go up in market value as the game grows, as the community grows, and then when you want to realize those gains, you can offload them on the chain. So I think play and own and earn is my optimistic model.
So when it comes to this question, I typically want to look at it more as like a game publisher perspective. As I mentioned, throughout my career, I've acquired probably over 800 million players into a variety of different games I worked on. Usually it's through performance ads, so like Google, Facebook, Unity, AppLovin, all these different platforms where we put ads into these platforms and display them through their network to try and acquire users through them. And I can say one of the biggest troubles and problems in this business model is that these platforms hold all the data. So they're the ones that decide what kind of users they're showing your ads to. And their motivation is to make the most amount of money from you, meaning highest conversion rate, and they don't give a shit about, they don't care about the number of actual quality users that they bring into your app. So they could, as long as a user goes and clicks through the ad and actually downloads the game, that counts as revenue for these ad platforms, and they won't use their data to actually go out and help you find the best users for your platform. And then that also ends up in a situation where, if I'm not sure if you guys have it here in Japan, but in North America, a lot of times when you look at ads on YouTube or on TikTok, it's for these like fake ads, these games that provide these terrible ads that show gameplay that has nothing to do with the game, because this is what converts the best, and this is what they show the most. But in the end, the best ads out there, the users that go into the game, they play it, they play 2 minutes, they realize it's not what it is, and they delete the gameplay, and there's no experience there. So how does blockchain change this? Well, it provides user data on chain. It makes this into something public. It's something where users and game developers can go out there and see, do their own analysis, and target their own users directly. If I can launch an MMORPG, and I can say, hey, my MMORPG is a Western-based mythical MMORPG like World of Warcraft. Well, I want to show my ad and my gameplay experience to people who own, let's say, Frostmournes or some type of World of Warcraft asset in their wallet. That's the right type of experience, and the people who actually see these ads, it's actually more relevant to them because they're being targeted with something that's actually based on their interests. I think that's something that is very, very different, that is a very big potential difference and improvement in the gaming industry that can be provided. It's not necessarily gameplay, but I think user experiences overall will improve because of this type of, once this change is properly implemented.
Just to sort of touch on that point, at Excel we're actually working on solving the user acquisition issue for not only Web 2 but also Web 3 games. So we at GDC we announced Excel Wallet solution, which is going to be a unified, think of it as a bank for gamers, so and a loyalty integrator program, which allows us to essentially track user data, spending data, demographics, and then if we're attaching the Web3 element, like you said, everything is on chain. I know exactly what games you play, what assets you trade, your average wallet size, etc. We'll be able to reward those users by if they agree to share their data with us and our publishers and our customers, retarget them and provide direct access to users for games to go and enjoy, similar like whether you're like to play hyper-casual MMORPGs or etc. I think the other area, but maybe we didn't touch base on in terms of the benefits, is decentralization, right? And community-driven governance in the Web3 gaming. And what that allows for you is a really invested player base that they feel like they have a say in the future of the game in terms of game mechanics or new introductions of updates, content creation, and stuff like that. So I think that's very important. I think what Sandbox is doing is actually in that area. So
absolutely. Well, I think I see 4 essential benefits. One is your reputation on chain that extends to your digital identity. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much the value of the asset you own. What matters more is which asset you own, how they enabled you certain benefits, certain access to community, certain gameplay features, and how other players in the community actually perceive you as your player, the time you spend, not the money you spend, but the time you spend, the achievement, and so on. And that reputation can be leveraged in other way. Once it becomes on-chain, like other platform, other games can start to offer you benefits based on the asset you own. And that leads to the second point we already discussed, user acquisition. It works very well through interoperability. So in the case of Sandbox, we turn over 50 collection of NFTs and avatar into 3D playable avatar on Sandbox, and we drove those existing communities outside of Sandbox to have something new to do in Sandbox that adds value to their community. Instead of being connected into a 2D chat like Telegram or Discord, they have a social hub, they have an avatar, they play, they complete quests, they explore different virtual worlds and games, and they earn rewards for that. The third thing, Hans, is like community building. Like, how do you engage people meaningfully? You make them go through experiences. You make them have memories. You make them have like strong emotion, fun, challenges, etc. And the best way to do that usually is game. Like when we play game together and we all fight against a big boss, or we complete a challenge and we win, and that's actually create fun memories. And then that already happened in the real world when we go to events, to party, to clubs, and so on. And now we do that in virtual worlds. And the fourth thing, I think people tend to forget about it, the value of transparency and trust. Once you launch events and you say, I've distributed X amount of rewards to the community, what is the actual proof you've distributed those rewards in Web2 or in esports? A lot of cases have been seen, like you launch an esport tournament, there's a big prize pool, and the winners, they never receive the prize at the end of the day. The influencers, they never get the money for like the content they promoted. The gameplay sometimes. In Sandbox, we launched a new type of event where you have to transform your avatars using an NFT to choose which clan you're part of. We've done that once with Fist of the North Star. You transform yourself into Kenshiro and suddenly you choose if you're red team or blue team. We've done that with Rabbits in a new Music versus Love. And the community could see in real time, on-chain, like how many transformations happen and the exact data in a very transparent way. And I think when players can see in full transparency the data about like the way that the reward are distributed to who, the way the gameplay and the reward have been like utilized, I think it creates a new paradigm. And finally, the DAO and the governance, it's very new. At the same time, it's going to become the future of gaming. The power to the players really means like the players can decide the player status, the reward, the gameplay, the development roadmap, things that actually matter to them, not just the color of the next character.
Yeah, I think for the current Web3 games, actually most of them are Web 2.5, and we just bring the assets on trend. But like bringing the gaming logic on trend, I think will be the next trend of the Web3 gaming. Okay, just quick question for the last questions. What's the future overlook for the Web3 gaming? What do you think in terms of the genre, gameplay, and the token models? Like what kind of the Web3 games will stun the market in this cycle? Let's start with Eric.
That's a great question, Sean. I think from our perspective, the keyword we're looking for is quality. Right now, we call it Era 1.0, where we play games on our smartphones, on our tablets, on our PCs, Macs, maybe on our TVs. Jumping from 1.0 to 2.0 is going to be requiring a lot more immersive experiences. And names worth mentioning are XR, right? MR, VR, AR. We call it XR. We don't know what it is. Apple last year launched the Vision Pro, and it was on sale in the US, and now it's on sale in most parts of Asia. What we're looking for is what we call a cloud XR experience. We're hoping the Web3 world can expand to that experience. That requires a lot of computing power, a lot of more effort than games playing on your screen like this, your smartphone, your TV. That immersion, that quality is what's going to attract the next generation of new users from our perspective. And that requires cloud computing or cloud rendering, and that's where we excel at.
I think genres like MMORPGs and strategy games are probably the best suited in terms of that natural line maybe with the complex economies and the asset collection associated with Web3, right? So I do agree that if we can remove friction in terms of having to own a high-powered machine that might be inaccessible, right, to a lot of people, and if you can achieve that through cloud streaming, etc., you tap into a much larger player base. And I think also at the same time, it's if you can bring games cross-platform, whether, like you said, whether it's mobile, console, whatever, and also have assets cross-platform, that as well as with engaging gameplay, That's really going to drive Web3 adoption, in my view.
Yeah, one of the kind of big issues I had with, I think, the early stages of Web3 gaming is that a lot of the founders or a lot of the game developers aren't actual game developers. They come from backgrounds of like, finance or Goldman Sachs. Like they're really, really good investors. They're really strong kind of financial mindsets, but they don't understand gaming. Like gaming, and a lot of them kind of attributed their success to, or try to attribute success to a high token value. And I think that has caused a huge problem inside the industry where there's a detachment from the actual business underlying the token and the token value that's on there. When you trade, like when you list a token on Binance, Bybit, one of these centralized exchanges, yes, you get a lot of traders and a lot of speculators exchanging your token, but not a single one of those users will become a valued user of your game. They're not going to come in and actually contribute, revenue, play your game, and be part of your actual ecosystem. And so it detaches that value quite significantly. And what happens is eventually, and a correction has to happen, and the token value drops, and there's nothing to hold that token value in place once it drops, and eventually it just disappears. I think that is a really, really evident symptom of this first generation or the first few generations of crypto games where they are just not developed by real gamers. But game developers are the ones that are really building true games, the ones that actually care about gaming and have a reason to build their game. Those guys know that it takes time to build a video game. You can't put the next generation MMORPG out within a year of development. That's just not going to happen. World of Warcraft took 20 years to still updating. Like Star Atlas, or not Star Atlas, EVE Online is 25 years, still in operation, still updating. Like it really does take time to develop something true. And I think now we're reaching that breaking point where a lot of the true gaming developers out there are ready to release their projects. And that's something I'm really excited to see. Just about MMORPGs, Medicine is one I'm working on right now that I'd say it's probably going to be a pretty big game changer. It's developed by an amazing team and something that if you guys like MMOs, do check out.
I think the issue, though, as well, is that the first generation of Web3 supposed games were not actually games. They were platforms, right? With very minimal utility, and like you said, it was all speculative token launch. And for the majority of them, it was a pump and dump scheme, so they didn't work. They weren't actual games. I think what we're seeing now is actual, real games that people want to play, whether you're Web 2 or Web 3, because the gameplay is enjoyable, it's immersive, whether it's a shooter or an MMORPG, like you said, it's an actual game. You want to spend time in rather than something that resembles a platform.
Well, for me, first of all, there is no future of gaming without blockchain. It's a technology that will empower at the end all the transaction and all the different gameplays. But what people tend to forget is like we all are looking for great experiences, new experiences, things that actually you haven't found on other platforms. And Web3 game, blockchain games, they've started to deliver on that. Like it's been 10 years, the free-to-play industry, the Web2 gaming industry has been very boring. No innovation, just copy and pasting the same business model and refining it to optimize and have a top grossing title that hasn't moved in 10 years. So we already seen the same gameplay over and over and over. We need to have that Flappy Bird moment, that Temple Run moment, that Angry Birds moment, that Clash of Clans moment, and progressively we're offering first different experiences not found on other platforms, and we're attracting new audiences so that the whole gaming industry keeps growing. Like how are we going to reach 3 billion, 4 billion gamers? Like casual gaming, smartphone, hyper casual, Nintendo with the Nintendo 3DS, they introduced and the Wii before, they always enlarge the audience of gaming, and blockchain will enable that if we have innovation at the content level, not just at the technology level, at the core driving it.
All right, thank you all. I think we are close to the end of this session. According to the IVS history, IVS is like a great platform for not only the startups, but also for the big companies to make some announcement about their new product or new features. Do you guys have anything you want to share to our audience today?
Yeah, all right, I'll jump in. So, one more thing. So we're here today at IVS Kyoto, and we're very proud to announce a major partnership with Kodansha and the launch of Attack on Titan Land on Sandbox. So maybe we have a video to play as a little teaser of what's coming up through this partnership. It's really being a very exciting moment for us. A big fan of manga and anime myself, seeing an invasion of Titans in Sandbox and allowing people to play through their favorite characters from the manga and be able to create and play into that land will be a very strong moment for the metaverse.
So we do have some exciting announcements coming up, especially for Web3, as we have been developing a new set of solutions and products to enable Web3 games, both with user acquisition, asset storage, custody, and all that type of stuff. But I think one platform that we've been working on over the last few whiles is X.LA. You can go and check it out, and it's where we help game developers reach wider audiences. So it's another distribution channel. So if you're a game developer, whether Web2 or Web3, and looking to engage users and reduce your user acquisition cost, I would highly encourage you to get in touch with that team. It's our consumer-facing platform. It works with influencers, celebrities, and our partner network for distribution channels, and it's completely free for game developers that work with Xsola. So.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Okay, thank you everyone joining these sessions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.